Before Friends made her super famous, Jennifer Aniston got fired 4 times. She made $200 doing a McDonald's commercial that was pretending to be a movie. She owed people $5,000 and worked as a waitress for many years. NBC almost kicked her off Friends after the first test episode because people really didn't like Rachel. But she didn't give up. Then in 2025, something happened that changed everything. At 56 years old, after making $320 million and going through 3 divorces, Jennifer made a choice that really surprised Hollywood. This is what really happened behind the scenes. Jennifer Aniston was born on February 11, 1969 in Sherman Oaks, Los Angeles. From the outside, it seemed like a Hollywood family. Her dad, John Aniston, was acting on a show called Days of Our Lives, and her mom, Nancy Dow, used to be a model and was on shows like The Beverly Hillbillies. But things weren't calm at home. Her mom would often tell her that she wasn't pretty enough. Even when Jennifer was just a baby, she'd say things like, "You need to put your face on." Jennifer grew up hearing these things over and over. Her mom compared her to herself and made her feel like she was never good enough. That hurt stayed with her for years. Her family background brought even more fights. Her mom's side came from Italy, and her dad's side was fully Greek. That mix should have made her childhood fun, but instead it caused problems. Her dad, who grew up in Greece and had strict Greek rules, often argued with her mom, who believed in beauty, fame, and being the boss. John had been in the Navy and finished college at Penn State before becoming an actor, so he had a strict, serious way of thinking. Nancy, on the other hand, loved drama and had strong opinions. Their fights were loud and emotional, but no one ever talked about feelings in a healthy way. So Jennifer got used to chaos, but never really felt heard. One person who tried to help was her godfather, the famous actor Telly Savalas. He had played tough guys on TV, but when cameras were off, he was gentle with Jennifer. He was close friends with her dad, and even gave him acting jobs when money was tight. At one point, Telly even bought Jennifer a house when she was young to give her some safety. He tried to protect her, but even with all his fame and money, he couldn't stop the emotional hurt happening behind closed doors. Jennifer later said she was close to him as a kid, but even he couldn't fix what was breaking at home. Jennifer also had brothers and sisters, but they didn't make things easier. Her older half-brother, John Mellick, was born in 1959 from her mom's earlier marriage. He stayed behind the scenes in the movie world. Then, when Jennifer was already 20, her younger half-brother, Alexander Aniston, was born in 1989. He turned out to be the complete opposite of everything Hollywood. He lived a wild, rebellious life, had tattoos that said "live free and down to cuddle," and didn't want anything to do with being famous. At one festival, he said people asking about Jennifer had been a pain in my butt for years. So Jennifer was stuck between 2 brothers, one 10 years older who tried to protect her, and one 20 years younger who rejected her world completely. The marriage between her parents had already started falling apart when Jennifer was just a baby. They fought all the time, and her mom never stopped saying mean things about her looks. Her dad was focused on his acting and emotionally checked out. By November 1979, he left the family. Jennifer was just 10 years old. One day she came home from a birthday party and her mom told her, "Your father's not going to be around here for a little while," but he never really came back. That was the start of Jennifer's fear of being left behind. She later said watching her parents made her think, "I don't want to go through that," and it made her feel completely alone in her future relationships. Things got even more confusing when Jennifer was around 5 or 6. Her family moved to Greece for a year because her dad's acting job slowed down, and he wanted to study to become a doctor. That year was hard. She was asked to belly dance in front of relatives, and she said it gave her inner pain that stuck with her. She had to learn Greek, watch her parents argue about everything, and feel completely out of place. Her dad didn't even finish medical school, and they came back to the U.S. worse off than before. That time made Jennifer hate being forced to perform in front of others. She still remembers the feeling when people pressure kids to entertain at family events. And then something almost killed her. One day when she was 5, Jennifer was riding her tricycle near a pool and accidentally fell in. She didn't let go of the handles and sank straight to the bottom. She couldn't swim. One of her brothers jumped in and saved her. She later joked that she wasn't a smart child, but the fear stayed with her for life. Even when filming a movie in 2014 that had underwater scenes, she couldn't do it without special weights and doing it many times. She said, "No one believes me. I honestly can't go underwater." After her parents got divorced in 1980, Jennifer was 9 and caught between two very different lives. She stayed with her mom in New York City while her dad stayed in Los Angeles for his soap opera job. Being far apart was hard. She hardly saw him, and living with Nancy meant hearing mean comments about how she looked every day. Her mom would say she wasn't beautiful and always compare her to other girls or to herself. That wore Jennifer down. What made it worse was that Jennifer had dyslexia, but no one knew. She struggled in school, couldn't keep up, had trouble reading, and felt dumb without understanding why. She wasn't told about it until her early 20s during a simple eye test. Her eyes jumped around when reading, skipping words. During a reading test, she got only 3 out of 10 questions right. That moment explained years of feeling lost and stupid. She said it helped her understand all her childhood pain and failures. For years, she had no idea there was a reason behind her struggles. Even though both her parents were in show business, they didn't let her watch TV. She went to a Waldorf school where television was not allowed. So while her dad was on TV every day, she wasn't allowed to see it. Still, Jennifer would sneak and watch shows like Dynasty when she was sick, and Home Alone. It made her feel guilty and confused. She loved acting, but was told not to enjoy the one thing her family was built around. She found some peace at age 11 when she joined the drama club at her school. It became her escape. But dyslexia made remembering lines hard. She couldn't keep up and felt stupid again. To hide the pain, she became the class clown. Making people laugh was her way of dealing with it. That humor would later become her biggest strength. At 15, Jennifer started at LaGuardia High School, the same school from the movie Fame. She joined the drama group, and her teacher Anthony Abison changed everything. He believed in her. He told her, "It all begins with the shoes," meaning that the character starts from the body. Under his teaching, she performed in plays like Three Sisters and The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window. He was the first person to ever tell her she was funny, and it stuck with her. Back home, things with her mom got worse. In the 1980s, Nancy Dow was working on a book and often said Jennifer wasn't the perfect daughter she had hoped for. She called her plain. Jennifer finally got mad and dyed her hair blonde at 16 just to rebel. Years later, she still said she was mean. She was gorgeous, stunning. I wasn't, I never was. The fights got worse. When her mom's book came out in 1999 called From Mother and Daughter to Friends, it broke their relationship for years. By age 17, Jennifer had her first off-Broadway role in For Dear Life and worked as a waitress to survive. She kept trying out for roles, but people told her she looked too ethnic for Hollywood roles because of her Greek background. It hurt. She felt rejected for who she was. She also performed in Dancing on Checker's Grave and kept learning from her former teacher. She finished high school in 1987 and thought about college, maybe art school. She loved making pottery, but dyslexia kept holding her back. Scripts were hard. Tests were harder. After finding out about her dyslexia in her early 20s, she finally understood why everything had been so hard. She decided to skip college and go full-time into acting. She worked as a waitress and went to tryout after tryout, believing that one day all the pain would finally make sense. She was only 19 when she showed up in the background of a strange little movie that people would later call one of the worst ever made. Jennifer Aniston didn't even get a real part in Mac and Me, a cheap copy of E.T. that ended up being a 99-minute ad for McDonald's. She was barely visible, just sitting on the sidewalk in a parking lot during a fake dance party outside a McDonald's. She made only $200 for that scene, which didn't even cover the cost to get to San Fernando Valley. The movie cost $13 million but made only $6.4 million. People who review movies said it was shameless, embarrassing, and felt like company advertising pretending to be a kid's story. She wasn't the only future star trapped in it. Nikki Cox was there too without credit. Years later, everyone who had even a second in that movie tried to pretend it didn't exist. That wasn't her only early disaster. In 1990, she got a regular TV role on a show called Malaloy on Fox. It looked good at first, and she even moved from New York to Los Angeles just for it. She used up all her savings and borrowed money too, hoping this was her big break. But the show only aired 7 episodes and got canceled fast without warning. 3 more episodes were never even shown. She was left owing $5,000 and had no work. So she went back to being a waitress at Jackson Hole Hamburgers, making minimum wage and tips for the next 2.5 years. The real heartbreak came when Malaloy failed, while Mayim Balak's other show Blossom became a hit. The 2 shows had started at the same time, but only one survived and it wasn't hers. That same year she got another chance with NBC's TV version of Ferris Bueller, playing Ferris's sister Jeannie. But the role was nothing like what she expected. They turned her into a boring, angry teenager. She hated it. The writers kept her stuck in mean lines and fights with Ferris. Charlie Schlatter played Ferris, but there was no spark between them, and the people who review shows tore the show apart. It lasted only 13 episodes. She later said this was when she realized how easy it was to get stuck in one type of role. After that, people picking actors only saw her as the angry sister. In 1991, she appeared in Herman's Head as a guest playing Herman's sister, Susie. But behind the scenes, things were ugly. People later said that she was treated badly by some of the men on set. It was the early 90s, and TV work was full of sexism that no one even tried to hide. Her role was written just to be pretty, not real. She didn't say much publicly back then, but years later during the Me Too movement, she hinted that this show was one of those experiences that opened her eyes. She learned to speak up for herself, even when it meant risking a job. Then came 1993 when she took a main role in a cheap horror film called Leprechaun. It had a $900,000 budget and needed a lot physically. Warwick Davis, her co-star, played the monster in full scary makeup. She had to scream and run through scenes for hours with barely any breaks. In one scene, he chased her with a wheelchair that didn't even work right, so she had to fake run in slow motion for take after take. The stress was real. The fear on her face in the movie was often not acting. She later said this was the worst thing she'd ever done. The movie made just $8.6 million and started a horror series, but she wanted no part in it. She didn't even want to help sell it. But things changed suddenly in 1994. She got a tryout for a new NBC show called Friends Like Us, and the people making it thought she'd be perfect for Monica Geller. But Jennifer said no. She told them she wanted to read for Rachel Green instead. They said no at first, but she kept pushing. At just 25, with 4 failed shows behind her, she took a risk that could have ended her career. But they let her try out, and within 24 hours, she got the part. There was only one problem. She was already on another show on CBS called Muddling Through. NBC President Warren Littlefield had to take a chance that Muddling Through would fail. And it did, making room for Friends. Right before all this, she shocked everyone by turning down Saturday Night Live. Adam Sandler wanted her on the show. She had a meeting with Lorne Michaels but told him straight that the show felt like a boys' club and she missed the days of Gilda Radner. She picked Friends instead of SNL even though nobody had heard of it. Her agent warned her it might fail like the others, but she followed her gut and it changed her life. Still, it wasn't easy at first. During the early practice sessions for Friends, she argued with co-creator Marta Kaufman. She felt Rachel was too shallow, a spoiled runaway bride with no depth. She fought for changes even though she was just a newcomer. The rewrites delayed production by 2 weeks and cost NBC around $200,000, but it paid off. Rachel became a real person. Flawed, scared, growing. It was her fight that helped shape what would become TV's most famous character. Even after all that, Season 1 didn't make her rich. She made $2,500 per episode, about $540,000 total. She used much of it to help support her mom while living in expensive Manhattan. During filming, rumors spread about her chemistry with David Schwimmer. Some crew thought they were really into each other. Years later, both said they had crushes, but never acted on it because one of them was always dating someone. That tension, though, turned into the Ross and Rachel story millions fell in love with. But it almost ended before it began. When the Friends test episode aired for test audiences in August 1994, people hated Rachel. They called her annoying. NBC almost fired her and had backup actresses ready. But during a reshoot at Central Perk, Jennifer ignored the script and made up a new version of the runaway bride scene. She stuttered, messed up with the coffee, and made Rachel human. The audience loved it. That moment saved her job and changed TV history. NBC destroyed the original footage and only kept the made-up version. By season 3, NBC tried to offer Jennifer and David Schwimmer $100,000 per episode because they were so popular. The rest of the actors were still making $2,500. Jennifer said no. She and David agreed to cut their offer to $75,000 so everyone could be equal. That cost them around $625,000 each, but it saved the show's friendships and set the example for future negotiations. In 1998, while filming the Vegas episodes, Jennifer was secretly fighting bulimia. Tabloids kept making fun of her weight, and she felt pressure to stay thin. She dropped to 110 lbs and started extreme dieting, just 1,000 calories a day while working out like crazy. During those fun-looking Vegas scenes, she was actually suffering in silence, drinking Chinese weight loss teas and pushing through with barely any energy. The public saw Rachel smiling, but inside Jennifer was breaking down. Then came the money war in 2000. NBC offered the actors $750,000 each for seasons 9 and 10. Jennifer led the push for $1 million. Executives freaked out and ran ads saying Friends was ending, but the actors stood firm. They had 4 episodes left to shoot and NBC gave in. Jennifer made $24 million for the final seasons. That deal changed how actors negotiated forever. In 2001, her friendship with Matthew Perry got tested when his addiction got really bad. He was taking 55 Vicodin pills a day and drinking a quart of vodka. His weight dropped to 128 lb. Jennifer and others tried interventions, but he kept brushing them off. During Chandler and Monica's wedding scenes, he was actually in treatment. Jennifer watched him struggle and it hurt. She and the rest of the actors quietly went to about $6,000 meetings over the years, trying to support him however they could. By 2004, rumors started that Rachel would be killed off in the finale. Jennifer panicked. She cried at table reads, terrified that she'd be stuck in people's minds as a sad character, or worse, that her career would end with Rachel. NBC had thought about the idea to get more viewers. The producers said it wasn't true, but the fear stuck with her. She later said she was desperate for Friends to end, but also terrified of what would happen next. Jennifer Aniston was 39 when she did something most actresses in Hollywood even dare. Instead of slowing down or stepping away like many women in the industry were expected to at that age, she started Echo Films in April 2008. She didn't do it alone. Kristen Hahn was her partner, but the decision came right after a heartbreak. Her marriage with Brad Pitt had ended in 2006, and with it, she lost her place in the production company they once shared, Plan B. Pitt became the only owner, and Jennifer had to walk away. Most people thought Echo Films was just a show-off move, another actress trying to stay important. But then something unexpected happened. They signed a 5-year first-look deal with Universal worth $50 million. That's when everyone realized Jennifer wasn't playing games. She wanted to make stories that mattered. One of the first projects was The Gory Girls, a bold story about female prisoners who started a band. It was nothing like the romantic comedies people knew her for. She was making a change, and it wasn't subtle. That change became even more obvious when the morning show started. Apple TV Plus put in $300 million for the first 2 seasons, just 20 episodes total. That meant $15 million per episode, making it one of the most expensive shows ever made. Jennifer and her co-star Reese Witherspoon were paid $2 million each for every episode. And on top of that, they made money as producers and even got ownership pieces. It added up to over $20 million per season for each of them. But when COVID-19 hit in 2020, the whole production almost fell apart. Apple had to throw in another $100 million just to keep it going. Jennifer wasn't just acting in the show. She was making the decisions. She could override the director, demand script changes, and challenge anyone at the top. It caused real tension behind the scenes, but she had earned that power. Season 2 took things even further. Jennifer's character started dealing with racism on screen, and not all of it was in the script. She added lines about pay gaps and unfair treatment. And those moments hit hard. They showed what was really going on in Hollywood. Off camera, there were real fights, too. Nicole Beharie, who played another anchor on the show, had problems with how she was being treated. Problems that felt too close to the story to be ignored. And with the show also dealing with COVID and what happened after George Floyd's murder, it turned into something more than entertainment. Jennifer had a scene where she broke down over racism in the system. It was powerful, but not everyone welcomed it. Some groups felt it wasn't right for a white actress to be at the center on those topics, and it caused heated debates in the writers' room. Now it's 2025 and Season 4 is about to come out. Jennifer is 56 and she's not backing down. She told Apple she wouldn't do the show if her character started fading into the background. They agreed, but only after long fights. She kept her $2 million per episode pay, but this time the deal came with even more creative power. She could say no to any storyline that made her look like just another aging woman. Apple had to spend $400 million for this season alone, their biggest spend ever on original content. On set, Jennifer could approve the clothes, the actors, even the directors. She wasn't just the star anymore. She was running the show unofficially. That same year, she started filming Hail Mary. The budget was $100 million, making it one of the most expensive sports dramas led by a woman. Jennifer played Denise White, a former beauty queen turned sports agent. There was no romance, no flirting, no love story to soften her image. She wanted it that way, but it didn't sit well with the original director, Michelle MacLaren, who eventually left. That caused a 6-month delay. Studios weren't sure people would accept Jennifer in such a tough role, so she found money from other places. She even put in $25 million from her own pocket. It was her biggest gamble yet. Long before this, people had followed her love story with Brad Pitt. They met in 1998 at a Martini and Rossi photo shoot. He asked her to marry him the next year with a $500,000 ring, and they announced it at a Sting concert. Their Malibu wedding in July 2000 cost over $1 million. The guests ate from a wall of caviar surrounded by $90,000 worth of flowers and watched 13 minutes of fireworks. But it wasn't all perfect. They had prenup talks about kids, and Jennifer was already facing pressure about becoming a mother, something the media never stopped asking her about. In 2005, everything fell apart. The divorce became the biggest celebrity breakup of the decade. While filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad met Angelina Jolie. Jennifer even greeted her kindly at Warner Brothers, saying she hoped they had fun working together. She had no idea what was coming. A few months after the divorce went public, Angelina released pictures of her and Brad with her son on a beach in Kenya. A magazine insider later confirmed that the tip came from Angelina herself. That photo ended any hope of privacy. Suddenly, it was Team Aniston versus Team Jolie, and Jennifer was caught in the middle. She described that time as feeling like a piñata, built up then smashed down. In 2011, she met Justin Theroux while filming Wanderlust. They bought a $22 million mansion in Bel Air and seemed happy. But behind the scenes, she was quietly going through IVF and other treatments, desperate to have a child. She froze her eggs at 41 and later said she wished someone had told her to do it earlier. She drank teas, tried everything, and still the media kept twisting the story, blaming her for putting career before family. She called it all lies. In 2015, they got married in their backyard. It was low-key, and Jennifer said they already felt married, but the happiness didn't last. By late 2017, things were falling apart. Just before they announced their split in February 2018, Jennifer gave an interview saying she felt perfectly at home with her husband and dogs, but it was already over. Friends said Justin had started showing interest in younger women. They spent New Year's in Cabo together, hiding the truth. In the divorce, Jennifer got the dog, but the heartbreak stayed. Just a year earlier, Justin had called her his partner in a glowing interview. But by summer 2018, he was seen living the single life. In July 2025, news came out about Jennifer dating Jim Curtis, a hypnotist with over 550,000 followers. He'd once said he couldn't stay with any woman for long because he got bored, but now he was helping Jennifer through something scary. For 2 years, a man named Jimmy Wayne Carr had been stalking her, sending emails, voicemails, even showing up at her house. On May 5, 2025, He crashed his car through her gate. He believed he was meant to have 3 children with her. She was home at the time. That moment shook her. Jim started using hypnotherapy to help her calm down, sleep better, and feel safe again. Now at 56, Jennifer has built a $320 million fortune. She still makes $20 million a year just from Friends, thanks to a deal where each main actor gets 2% of the show's $1 billion yearly money. In 2024 alone, she made $42 million with The Morning Show and other projects going strong. Her Lolavi hair care brand brings in $10 million a year, and she owns houses in Montecito, including Oprah's old farm. But behind the scenes, she's still fighting battles. She has dry eye problem and needs drops every hour. Makeup on set became painful. Since her early 40s, she's had trouble sleeping from perimenopause. In 2024 it got worse. She even started sleepwalking and once set off her house alarm. Instead of medicine, she used hypnosis and breathing exercises. She said her brain won't stop talking and that made sleep feel impossible. In June 2025, she said something no one expected. After nearly 40 years in film and TV, she wanted to do Broadway. She just needed the right script. At the same time, she made it clear she wouldn't accept a Friends reunion script that made Rachel Green seem dumb or childish. She was open to coming back for Horrible Bosses 3, already discussing ideas with Jason Bateman and Charlie Day. Echo Films had other big things coming too, including a remake of 9 to 5 and a version of I'm Glad My Mom Died, where she'll play a controlling stage mom. In 2025, she gave away $5 million to causes close to her heart. She started the Clyde Fund in 2024 to help rescue animals inspired by her own dogs, Clyde and Chesterfield. She also supported learning disability programs after being told about her dyslexia later in life. Her children's book, Clyde Takes a Bite Out of Life, released October 1, 2025, sends all profits to dog shelters. Years ago, she gave $1 million to hurricane relief and $500,000 each to Red Cross and the Ricky Martin Foundation. But now her giving feels even more personal.